For more on this, we are now being joined by Adrian Calamel from New York. Adrian is a fellow at Arabian Peninsula Institute as well as terrorism and Middle Eastern scholar. Adrian, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining me on World DNA. Adrian, last time an attack of this sort happened at the Prime Minister's residence in Caesarea. The Prime Minister called it a grave mistake, and days later Israel did carry out those strikes on Iran, targeting very strategic points, which we have discussed in the past. This time too, it's being referred to as a dangerous escalation. How do you see Israel reacting, and against who all?
Yeah, Shivan, great to be here. Great to see you as always. Yeah, I think everybody needs to pause and wait to see what actually happened here. When Netanyahu was targeted before, that was a drone. These were flares. We're not talking about ballistic missiles. We're not talking about drones. We're not talking about mortars being set up. These were a couple of flares. And I'm not by any means minimizing the danger of that. There's a security lapse there where how is somebody be able to get in that close a range to launch a couple of flares at Netanyahu's residence, even though they weren't there? So I think the concern is security. And yeah, we have to wait to find out what happens. Is it somebody within the Israeli population that did it? I don't think we can point fingers at any actors right now, just because it's a really unsophisticated attack.
I just want to come back to what you just mentioned. I want to take it a little further from there. Like you mentioned, is it someone from within the country? Is there internal strife reflecting in this incident? And why I'm asking this is because opposition figures have denounced the incident, while Justice Minister Levin has said that it is part of a violent coup attempt and calls for judicial overhaul to be revived. Do you see any kind of sense that this could have come from within? Because there is a distinction between flares and a drone in terms of range as well.
Yeah, and that's what I'm leaning towards, is that this is more internal. We have to look at over the last year, pressure has been increasingly mounting on the Netanyahu government to end the war, to get the hostages back, to not get involved in Lebanon. And there's part of the Israeli population that is really upset and quite vocal about that. Now, are there elements that are in that disenfranchised group that would launch a couple of flares at the Prime Minister's residence? I would hazard to say, yeah, there probably are. So that's why I'm saying we need to kind of, and Shin Bet is investigating, and I think we need to figure out who it is, how it happened, and then go from there before we point fingers at the Islamic Republic, Hezbollah, or any type of operatives in the West Bank that could have pulled this off.
Adrian, now if we even look at where Caesarea is on the map, is far away from Lebanon. Do you feel flares have that kind of range to make it all the way from Hezbollah's side and reach Caesarea?
I just don't see it happening.
Suspect anything further than that? Just talking about range.
Range-wise, no. I just can't. You have to have range. You have to have accuracy. You're not getting either with those flares. So that's why I'm saying this is more of an internal thing. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong on this, but right now I'm leaning towards an internal issue.
Understood. Fine. We of course need to wait and hear from what the security agencies are going to finally conclude on this. It is still very recent. It is developing, and as and when we get a confirmed statement from the security agencies in Israel, perhaps then there will be further things to discuss on why it happened and what it means and what perhaps Israel is going to do next. Thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast on World DNA. Adrian, always a pleasure speaking with you. That was Adrian Calamel joining me from New York.